Let's talk today about the muscular system. First of all, the different jobs or functions of the muscular system. As we talked about with the skeletal system, the muscles, along with your bones and your nervous system, work together to move your entire body. That's probably what we associate the muscular system with the most. In addition to just moving our body, we also have specialized muscles that help move our blood throughout our body. The food we eat, gets moved into our stomach, and then also through our digestive system. In addition, muscles give our bodies shape and structure and help us hold our posture. Finally, our muscular system also helps us generate heat. If you obviously have ever exercised or even just walked up a flight of stairs, you notice that you feel warmer, because as your muscles work, they generate heat, which helps keep you warm. What are the different parts of the muscular system? Well, first of all, and most obvious, the muscles. Muscles are divided into different categories. Some words that you should know and how they relate to muscles. First, striated. Striated means striped. Some muscles are arranged so that the fibers make light and dark bands, and they look like stripes. Voluntary. Voluntary means that we have a choice. These are muscles that we can control. You can choose to move your hand in a certain way because those muscles are voluntary. Involuntary means that you don't have a choice. Muscles that we cannot control are involuntary. This would include our heart. We do not have a choice. Our heart will beat even if we try to tell it to stop. We have 3 different types of muscles in our body. First, and the ones we think of the most, are our skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are, of course, attached to the bones of our skeleton and used to move our entire body. As you can see from the picture, they look like they have stripes. Again, these are a type of striated muscle. Our skeletal muscles are also voluntary. Again, that means we can choose when to move them and how to move them. One example would be your bicep muscle. In your upper arm, again, you could choose right now to flex your bicep, which would cause your forearm to raise. Another type of muscle is the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is what makes up our heart. This obviously is what we need to pump our blood throughout our body to deliver both oxygen and other nutrients to our cells. Cardiac muscles are also striated, but slightly different looking, in their appearance than the skeletal muscles. The big difference here is cardiac muscles are involuntary. We do not have control over our heartbeat. Yes, we know that if we run or exert ourselves, our heartbeat will speed up, but that is an involuntary response that naturally occurs because our cells need more oxygen and nutrients when we exert them. And so again, we don't really have control over that. Yes, if your heart is beating very fast, you can choose to sit down and try to relax, to slow your heart. But again, that is a natural and involuntary response that happens because of your choice to change what you were doing. The third type of muscle in our bodies is smooth muscle. This type of muscle is found in the lining of our digestive tract and also our blood vessels. This type of muscle, can contract and relax, which allows food to be moved throughout our digestive system and also helps pump and move blood throughout our body. Yes, our cardiac muscle, which makes up our heart, is the pump for the blood, but that blood is helped along its very long path throughout our body by muscles in the blood vessels. Again, like cardiac muscle, the smooth muscles are involuntary. And notice from the picture, they do not seem to have the same striped or ridged pattern that we saw with the skeletal and cardiac muscle. These types of muscles are called smooth muscle because they appear smooth and not striped. So here's a summary. Again, in our heart is the only place that we find cardiac muscles, and the cardiac muscle is made up of what are known as cardiac muscle cells. They have a bit of sort of an X shape to them. Skeletal muscles are made of skeletal muscle cells, which tend to be somewhat tubular, but definitely long and fibrous type of shape. And then we have our smooth muscle, which again tend to be long and thin type of cells. Besides muscles, there are a few other parts to our muscular system. One is tendons. We also talked about tendons in the skeletal system because the job of tendons is to connect the muscular and skeletal system. Again, a tendon is what will attach a muscle to a bone. Tendons, again, are strong and fibrous. They're a type of tissue that helps stabilize our joints, as well as make sure that our muscles are well attached to our bones so that when we decide to move a part of our body, the muscle can do so. In the picture here is one of the more well-known tendons in our body, which is at your ankle and is known as your Achilles tendon. Another part of the muscular system is called fascia. This is a band or a sheet of connective tissue that you often see on top of a muscle. In our lab the other day with the chicken legs, many of you noticed that right underneath the skin there was a white layer that seemed to be covering the muscles underneath. That was the muscular fascia covering those muscles. Fascia stabilizes muscles, helps enclose them, and also helps separate the different fibers of the muscle. Notice in the diagram, the fascia is shown as white, and sometimes it will surround an entire group of muscles, but it is also found within a big muscle, which a big muscle is actually made up of many different muscle fibers, and each is enclosed by a layer of fascia. Fascia, in addition to separating muscles, also helps connect muscles to each other and will help connect muscles to the skin or to internal organs as well. Let's name a few of the many skeletal muscles. We actually have over 600 skeletal muscles. We are going to name 11 of the very common skeletal muscles. The first one is found along your back, okay, covering and going over your shoulder blade, okay, basically from the base of your neck almost to the middle of your back. The name of this muscle is the trapezius. Okay, now, the other day we named some bones. You were familiar with a few of those bones and what their names were. Probably not going to be as familiar with many of these muscles, although you'll recognize a few. The next muscle is the one that's right on the top of your shoulder. Okay, it goes over the top of your shoulder. Part of it can be seen in the front and part of it in the back. Okay, so it kind of encloses the top of your shoulder. This is your deltoid muscle. So some of you who maybe are into working out and building muscle may have learned some exercises to develop your deltoid muscles. Next is the muscle that is in your chest. Okay, and I know you've heard of this muscle. Okay, sometimes you only hear it referred to by its shorter name, but you've heard of it. This is your pectoralis muscle. And so again, you've probably heard it referred to as your pect or your pecs. Okay, and so that's your pectoralis muscle. Then we have two muscles in our upper arm. Again, both of these you are probably somewhat familiar with. First, the triceps muscle, okay, is more along the back side of your upper arm. And then on the front side of your upper arm is the biceps muscle. These two muscles work in conjunction with each other. Okay, if you want to bend at your elbow and lift something, you're using your biceps. Then to straighten out your arm again, you are using your triceps. The next muscle is more from your middle back down to your lower back. And this muscle is called your latissimus dorsi. Again, we say that latissimus dorsi. Then you have a whole group of muscles, okay, near your abdomen, and that kind of gives it away. Again, those are your abdominals, okay, and they are divided into different categories, but we'll just refer to them as the abdominals. The muscle on your backside is called your gluteus maximus. Okay, gluteus maximus. The muscle that runs down the back of your upper leg is your biceps femoris. Okay, biceps femoris. Whereas on the front side of your upper leg is your quadriceps. Again, you've probably heard that referred to as simply your quad. Okay, your quadriceps. And finally, in your lower leg, and of course I'm sure you're familiar with people talking about your calf muscle, which is actually called, fun word to say, your gastrocnemius. Okay, so your calf muscle is actually named the gastrocnemius. So these are some of the muscles. Again, we have well over 600 skeletal muscles alone that you should be familiar with in terms of where they are and what their names are.